afternoon. I'm Edith Kimani and welcome to KTN Newsdesk. In this half hour, we'll be giving you an update of a cabinet meeting that's currently ongoing between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his cabinet. We'll also be telling you about marijuana that's been nabbed in Kakamega.
That's right, and that is news as it happens. This is KTN Newsdesk. My name is Bonituni. Welcome to the program. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto are at this hour holding a cabinet meeting that will, among other things, address the issues that are affecting the country, being the ministry's budgetary allocations and the work plan for various cabinet secretaries in the country. Now, in an earlier meeting, the president demanded a comprehensive work plan from all the cabinet secretaries, stating how they will be executing their duties. And with the country grappling with security challenges, the cabinet is likely to spend a substantial amount of time discussing security challenges facing the country. Tomorrow, the president heads to Nandi and Kakamega counties. In Nandi, the president will launch the different development projects that include the opening of the Kipchabo tea factory before addressing members of the public. In Kakamega, the president will spend some time in the evening with Muslims during their evening iftar. Right away from the president's diary, a politician whose bid to contest in a by-election was scuttled when the Supreme Court overruled his petition and has launched a scathing attack on the judicial institution. Jared Okello, who was the Ford Kenya candidate for Nyando constituency, lost a chance to challenge the incumbent MP Fred Outa in a by-election after the Supreme Court overruled an appeal court decision in his favor. Okello has asked the two segments of the judiciary to end their supremacy wars marked with counter-rulings and concentrate on delivering justice. Jared's remarks come amid the flurry of Supreme Court rulings over the last 2 months that have upheld the elections of most of the candidates who were sworn into office after the year's election.
As a guinea pig to test their powers over the Court of Appeal. These are the people who have been let down by that judgment. But we are here to tell you that the leadership of Nyando will not end at the Supreme Court. We will use other means, legal and otherwise, in order to give Nyando the leadership that they desire.
To Turkana now, where oil workers at the Ardan oil prospecting site in Turkana South have vowed not to go back to work if their grievances are not addressed. Now, the company, which has seen a series of go-slows for the past few months, was a ghost town after the workers, who are mainly from the Turkana community, complained of discrimination and high-handedness.
Workers at Ardan oil prospecting site in Turkana South have gone on a go-slow, demanding for better wages. The workers are complaining about poor pay, discrimination and harassment by the officials of the oil company that has been contracted by the government to prospect for oil in Turkana.
Hakuna mtu hapa nilichagua nimpate. Nilikuja nikawapata nini hapa kazini. Na lazima nitafuta ile njia tutafanya kazi pamoja. Bila kusema sitafanya na wewe, sitafanya na wewe.
I will not accept this daily.
Before the go-slow, Ardan company management had dismissed over 11 contracted workers under unclear circumstances, and according to workers' representative, the workers were dismissed for petty offences that were never investigated to a logical conclusion.
Mwezi ambayo ilipita kuna demonstration ilikuwa na ilikuwa imefanywa kwa hii kampuni tena Ardan, na kampuni ilifunjwa, vitu ikachukuliwa, ni kwa sababu ya poor management ya kampuni.
Imekuwa ukifanya makosa kidogo dismissal, ukifanya tena kidogo dismissal. Mean that sisi wa Turkana hatuna haki ya kufanya kazi hapa.
The intervention of the company's officials fell on deaf ears as the workers demanded for the immediate reinstatement of the sacked workers. Najma Ismail, KTN.
Regionally, at least 96 people have been killed in 4 days of clashes between tribal gunmen and Ugandan troops in the western side of the country.
Ugandan government has responded by sending in troops even as the Ugandan president vowed to punish those behind the attacks.
Assailants armed with machetes, spears and guns launched a series of surprise attacks over the weekend in western Uganda. The Ugandan army responded, sending in extra troops to hunt down the fighters.
We're going to do whatever it takes to arrest them, and really they will be dealt with by the law. This one is not something that you can just gloss over.
5 soldiers, 5 policemen and 11 civilians were also killed in 4 days, making up a total of 96 dead in the mountainous rural region that borders the Democratic Republic of Congo.
We need to understand this as a new ideology, a new phenomenon that is emerging in the Rwenzori. We need to understand this as a new fundamentalist group. Because come to think about it, what energy would you have to walk with a knife to attack a military installation?
President Yoweri Museveni has vowed to punish those involved in a criminal scheme that has caused the death of so many people. Ugandan police say the attacks are ethnic battles, with the local majority Bakonzo people attacking the minority Basongora people because of long-standing differences of culture and land disputes. Both the army and police denied the attacks were related to any rebel group, including the Allied Democratic Forces, an Islamist rebel group fighting the Ugandan government based in the Congo border region.
We're still looking at news coming from our neighboring countries, and 2 years after independence, South Sudan is yet to enjoy relative peace due to the constant conflict threatening to rip apart the young nation. Despite the precarious peace situation in the South Sudanese citizens at Kapsoya Estate in Eldoret yesterday celebrated the day, praying for their nation for peace to prevail. Now, unlike previous celebrations where dancing and merrymaking was the norm, the speeches and songs were about prayer for peace in their nation, wrenched in conflict. They urged their leaders in South Sudan not to divide the young nation along tribal lines, but initiate dialogue to end the suffering of their people.
Police in Kangema have intercepted 7 sacks of Bhang worth $1 million shillings. Police officers attached to Kangema police station at around 10 a.m. reported to have given a chase on a suspicious-looking car after the driver refused to stop at a police checkpoint. The 2 male suspects diverted into a feeder road near the Gakira market but hit a dead end and managed to escape on foot.
When they checked in that vehicle, they discovered that it was conveying some cannabis. This was 7 bags, 7 sacks that was stuffed with cannabis. We laid a manhunt on the same 2 people, but so far we have not made any arrest. We have passed the same information to the public within the local area, so that if they happen to see these suspects, because we believe they should be strangers, then they pass the same information to us.
Elsewhere, the committee members of Ruguta Development Project, which is in Kikuyu County, are seeking the consent from the National Land Commission over the ownership of disputed Ruguta land and dam. Now, through their chairman, the members are saying that they have big plans for the land if only the government will agree with the families who are claiming the ownership of the land. The National Land Commission chairman, Mohammed Swazuri, yesterday held a meeting with committee members together with the local stakeholders of Ruguta and agreed that the Commission is going to ascertain the true ownership of Ruguta land.
The issue of ownership from the point of view of the family is not disputed. It got its owners, and whether we have developed it or not, it belongs to the family.
In our mind, we think about a clinic for the animals. We like to build polytechnics for the youth. We would like to have people who have gone through the technicals.
The Commission is going to ascertain the true ownership of this land through all those records that we have seen, the ones that said it's temporary, permanent, compensated, or returned. We are going to ascertain that. Secondly, we have said that whether we found the land to belong to the family here, one of the families or not, we still need to rehabilitate this place. And therefore, the Project Development Committee will still have to come back to us as stakeholders, together with the family, to agree on the best way of how to utilize this parcel of land.
Right, our mics are on and it's time to take a break.
It's time to take a short commercial break. When we come back, you're having a discussion this afternoon. What are you talking about?
We're talking about smartphones. Everyone has one. Literally, they've overtaken our lives. Our lives depend on them. But we're looking at, I mean, what's the future for this? What's next in the smartphone business? I have Manoj Changarapatt from Samsung Mobile.
Well, that's coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. This is KTN Newsdesk. Now you know if you're seated on this side, we're having our afternoon business chat. But just before that, security company G4S is investing 650 million shillings to modernize its cash-in-transit business. Yes, you've heard of all those incidences. And with the operations in 31 towns across the country, G4S is positioning itself to take a bigger slice of the CIT business as other security firms venture into the business. Having been the subject of a number of in-house robberies with employees making away with millions of shillings, the investment is meant to bolster the firm's ability to monitor the business better. G4S has bought a new fleet of CIT vehicles and a high degree of centralization, which ensures close monitoring and control of vehicles' movement. The fleet was flagged off by G4S Global CEO Ashley Almanza.
Thank you, sir. We're going now.
Great. So away from cash in transit, let's talk about smartphones now. And everyone has them now. Your life literally depends on them. But what's the future of smartphones? And joining me is someone who's responsible in bringing Samsung into the country and ensuring that you have a Samsung gadget. I'm talking about Manoj Changarapatt. Karibu sana.
Good afternoon.
I think that your latest babies has been Samsung S5, complete with the gear and everything. I'm seeing you're donning one. How
That's
exactly
correct.
is it doing in this market?
We had a slow start in the beginning, but now it started picking up. One of the things that we have realized is that, to position the product in the right way, we slightly changed our proposition, and we felt that the IP67, which is a water-resistant and dust-resistant feature, is quite appealing to Kenyan consumers.
Right.
So I think we are focusing more on that, plus a few of other tricky things.
Right.
And then the latest is to give a new experience to consumers by giving Galaxy Fit, Gear Fit as a free bundle for the Galaxy S5.
Right. Everyone is complaining about battery life on smartphones. You charge the thing, it has 10,000 features, but halfway through the day, it's dead. What's the plan going forward to ensure that at least we get to enjoy what we're buying?
True.
And not have to carry power banks everywhere.
Absolutely. So we've been continuously developing the battery technology. As a manufacturing and innovative company, we've spent a lot of money into developing battery technology. We have gotten to absolute maximum of what can fit into a Galaxy S5.
Right.
And so there is an improvement in battery life. But of course, two other things that I want to mention is the key thing thing would be for the user to minimize the number of applications running at the same time. That's I've always said it, perhaps I'm repeating. But a third one is we've now introduced ultra power saving mode in Galaxy S5. So if you're running below 20%, you can switch off all the applications except the critical one, like the phone calls, SMS, and few other things, which would take the battery life to about 6 to 7 hours. So those are the improvements that we have done. Of course, we can't control the usage of data and what user experience is. That we leave it to the users.
Right. Manoj, from the announcement of S4, S5, and all the S's that you have, smartphone has, there's always the constant complaint that these gadgets are too expensive. An ordinary Kenyan would not afford a phone going for 70, 60,000 bob. But then we're also seeing an upsurge in the uptake of these gadgets. What has changed in your view?
I think from the year 2011, when we seriously started focusing on Kenya market, we've seen a huge shift from feature phones to smartphone. I think that's something that we have worked with operators. Actually, operators have driven the business, Safaricom, Airtel, and the likes. So we partake, in the same growth. So we believe that the smartphone is the future. While we talk about the price on the Galaxy S5 or a Note 3 on the flagship product, we also want you to remember that we've had products starting from 6,000 shillings onward, which is exactly the same Galaxy engine with the smartphone, entry smartphone. So we've been focusing a lot on entry smartphones as well. So it's a mind change for the consumers. Of course, in the olden days, with 10,000 shillings, you could buy a candy bar. Feature phone, now with 10,000, you can get a beautiful Galaxy smartphone. So I think the consumers also evolved and changed. So we are there, I mean, pretty much placed in every segment. Of course, the flagship products are sold very, very few, small percentage, single-digit percentage compared to the whole market. I must say that.
Okay, great. But you've given us the phones, you've made them available. A lot of people have these things, but you keep announcing new gadgets every other day, and so we have to keep upgrading. What's your plan for e-waste management? Because I have my old phone, I have my feature phone, I have my old Samsung, but where do I take them after this?
So I guess this is a national subject. I think we'll have to discuss it in a wider perspective, perhaps in a different platform with CCK and all other stakeholders. What we have done in the past, we have associated ourselves with CCK. We've done a very small campaign back in 2013, where we were encouraging consumers to come in and deposit their old phones, and then they get something newer and better technology to carry home with. Of course, I mean, Samsung is not the only company, or is not the principal company doing it. We are doing it in partnership with third-party companies, and we are looking forward.
And that is the norm, the world over.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to more and more such partnerships in Kenya. On the other hand, we also starting another small program called Smart Trade. It's under approval now. So what happens in Smart Trade is pretty much what we did in 2013, where you bring in any device at the counter, salesperson would be able to assess and give you another device, and then you pay the difference for the device. So the number of initiatives that we are starting up, but we're really keen to discuss this on a wider spectrum with other stakeholders as well.
All right. Lastly, everyone wants a piece of this market. So we've seen an upsurge of cheaper counterfeit products coming from markets I don't want to mention here. What's your assurance to customers that what you're getting is a genuine product?
Okay, so we're tackling it from a three-prong approach. The first one is consumer education at the retail or point of sale. You would have seen a number of brand shops or branded shops across the country. So we invested heavily into the shop, and we also placed our promoters, our experienced consultants within the shop. So at the point of sale, the consumer will be able to know whether this is a genuine product, what are the unique things about Samsung products. So that's one. Number two, we are one of the first companies to introduce e-warranty in the country. So through this system, a consumer can send an SMS and know the genuineness of the product, as well as whether he enjoys the 2-year warranty that we promised. And the third thing we can talk about is, for a high-end product or a flagship product, we're offering ADH Premium. ADH Premium is really accidental damage from handling. So if you take the product into a service center, you can get a damaged screen or water seepage, get it repaired within this 2 years' time. So those are the three things we can do. Of course, counterfeits are existing, like you rightly mentioned. It's because of the way we have been successful in some of the market segments, especially smartphone. That's something again, it's a regulatory level issue. I believe that the government
so everyone needs to be involved. It's not just you.
Absolutely,
the government also has to be involved.
Absolutely. So we need to work with the other agencies.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
In less than 10 seconds, months, weeks, when are we seeing the next announcement? Is it S5 Mega or what's next?
We've got a couple of flagship products coming, but the most unique thing about this quarter will be announcement of the Tab S. It's already been announced in the Europe and other parts of the world. Tab S will be the most unique tablet in the world.
Okay. Most unique tablet. We'll hold you to that, and once it comes out, we'll be there to review it and check it out. That has been Manoj Changarapatt from Samsung Mobile, helping us understand where all this smartphone madness is going to. Edith?
Well, from technology news, let's have a look at what's happening down south in South Africa, where it's recently introduced new immigration laws are causing confusion and panic among migrants, especially Zimbabweans who fled the political and economic crisis after the 2008 disputed elections. Congolese, Somalis, Nigerians, Mozambicans, and above all, Zimbabweans flock to the city of gold in search of their own little slice of the riches in the hiveland, as the surrounding region is known. Now, South African authorities, wary of the inflow amid brutality, high unemployment, have begun tightening visa regulations and closing loopholes.
These women and children are among the 2 to 3 million Zimbabweans living in South Africa. But their futures are in doubt after tough new visa rules were brought in, raising the prospect of mass deportations.
It's like they're chasing us out. They are killing us. We ran away from Zimbabwe because of poverty. So how can we go back there? No, things are not right like now.
Over 250,000 Zimbabweans were given special dispensation to stay in South Africa in 2009. Under the new rules, they'll be forced to go home to reapply once those permits run out this year. Foreigners blame the Home Affairs Ministry for delaying their paperwork. If they try to leave the country before their visas are renewed, they'll be banned from returning for up to 5 years. Immigration expert Gershon Masiani is one of many activists considering legal action against the South African government.
These are fundamental issues that boils down to human rights, to economic activity, to the right to work, to the right of spouses to live with their husband and wives, to the right of people to travel. These are the issues, these are pertinent issues that are affecting us as South Africans, and ultimately it will affect our economy.
South Africa's economy is already fragile. Its gross domestic product contracted last quarter, the first time since the 2009 recession, and its currency is at an all-time low. Now the government's introduced higher fees, more paperwork, and often a trip home for skilled foreigners wanting to work in the African nation. But ministers insist the tough new rules will boost the flagging economy by speeding up the time it takes to process applications.
We are introducing the systems, cutting down the time frames for the issuance of documents, and ensuring that people can get a quality service.
But by banning skilled workers and forcing spouses to return home, these new US-style regulations are unlikely to bolster the South African economy just yet. Instead, these changes will continue to cause chaos, not just for migrants, but for the governments that introduced them too.
Time now to wind up this edition of KTN Newsdesk, but not before we give you your Did You Know fact. 2 of them today.
And before the Did You Know fact, there's a website that everyone needs to be reading, and that is standardmedia.co.ke for all the stories that you do see on this particular bulletin and elsewhere.
So as I was saying, did you know? It has been scientifically proven that praise rather than criticism is the best way to help employees improve. Good job, Tunya. Did you also know cannabinoids, these are the chemicals which give you the high for the marijuana smokers, they're actually present in breast milk. I know, it's unbelievable. Apparently they help to calm down the baby and make them feel more hungry. How bizarre is that?
I don't know how we would use that. But on the issue of praise, I know a few bosses who don't do that.
I'm just going to end
all the bosses in this country don't do that.
Good afternoon. Samba Buzz is coming right up. Stay tuned.